speaking about how God heals us through many, many ways. And I'll be speaking today about how God heals us as we serve one another. And as my wife was pointing out to me, this is not intuitive. You think, she's a healer. If you're going to try and heal somebody, you focus on them. You don't focus on everybody else. But God has arranged it, as he does, that he sees about healing us as we are served and as we serve others. Peter tells us in 1 Peter 4:20, as each has received a gift, use it to serve one another as good stewards of God's varied grace. And I think that's pretty amazing. One, yes, you do have gifts that you've received from God. You may not know what they are, but you have. And two, God wants you to use those gifts, to develop them, to hone them, to sharpen them in service to one another, so that you may be a good steward of God's gracious gift. And that's pretty mind-blowing if you just stop and think about it. Whenever you hear somebody up here talk about stewardship, it's usually how you're managing your money and can we give, and we have this coming up. Or maybe you need to be a good steward of your body. You only have one body, the temple. What's even greater? God's grace. Are we being good stewards of God's grace in serving one another? And yes, it's not intuitive. How does that lead to healing? Well, we're going to get there. I want to say that if you do a search in the Bible for the word serve, almost all the times it's about serving God, or making sure you're not serving false gods. Because when it comes to God, he's really concerned about the other people. He says the greatest commandment, love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. And the second is like it, love one another as yourself. Serving God includes serving one another. He cares about that. He wants us to be connected. And there are a lot of one another verses, and we will talk about some of those. My view of serving is kind of a big umbrella. I don't stovepipe it, and you got giving, and you got encouraging, and you got because we have a tendency to think of serving as serving the poor. Serving, in my mind, is meeting needs. And those needs can be physical needs, emotional needs, spiritual needs, relational needs, so many. That's serving. Listening to someone, praying for others, those are serving. We were made to serve. We're told in the Bible, in Matthew 6:24, that you will serve God or mammon or money. You cannot serve both. You will love one and despise the other. We're told in Romans 6:16, you are a slave to God, to righteousness, or to sin. So apparently we don't really have a choice. This is what we are. We are servants. We are slaves. We get to choose. If you're not choosing to be a slave to God or to serve God by serving others, then you automatically are a slave to sin. You are serving money or mammon or whatever. I think that's fascinating. You've probably heard it said that we're also made to worship. Have you ever heard that, Mike? Yeah? We're made to worship. You will worship God, or you will worship something way less. Maybe a baseball team, or a billionaire, pop idol, or whatever. Money, Ebenezer Scrooge, money. You will worship lesser things, or you worship God. You get to choose. All of creation does what it's supposed to do, except us. We get to choose. We can do what we're supposed to do, align with our purpose, with our Creator, or we can rebel. A rock is a rock. A cat's a cat. A cat doesn't act like a rock. Maybe your cat does. I'm not judging your cat. What's important to remember is that, yes, we are all who we are. We are slaves. We're servants. We're meant to worship. We are also told, not suggested, not asked, to serve one another. And what's beautiful about that is we're told that whatever you do, you can do it all for the glory of God. So anything you do can be glorifying to God. Anything and everything. And that includes the way we interact with each other. All those one another's. All those relationships. Jesus even said, and Joe, I'll quote it for you, "Whatsoever you do to the least of my brethren, that you do unto me." Joe likes the older language. So God is telling us through Jesus' words that he is considering how you take care of each other, how you meet those needs, as doing it to him. That's pretty helpful, because we can't see God, but we can see each other. So what does serving look like? Yes, we tend to think of serving the poor. You know, we have this foster party, we have this canned food drive, we have coat drives, we have all kinds of things. And those are important, those are meeting needs. But there are many more needs. And we can neglect some of the other needs that are deeper, very important needs, if we get into that mindset, well, I don't have time to serve, or I did this. Physical needs, spiritual needs, emotional needs, relational needs. Consider the one another verses and things like that. Show hospitality to one another. Have fellowship, which is relationship with one another. Live in harmony with one another. Be at peace with one another. Be kind to one another. Forgive one another. Bear with one another. Bear one another's burdens. Comfort one another. Care for one another. Confess sins to one another. Pray for one another. Encourage one another. Sing with one another. Thank you, ladies. Thank you, Eric. And Randall and Bob and Matt, everyone else. Exhort one another. Instruct one another. Teach and admonish one another. Sing with one another. Stir each other up in love and good works. Do good to one another. Serve one another. Wash one another's feet. Speak the truth to one another. These are all needs. And we're told to do these things. But we can neglect them because, well, of a mindset. Teaching, correcting, rebuking, all of that. That's serving. Today, many people have been meeting your needs. I mentioned the singers, the musicians. They were serving you. Sound, microphone, video, serving us. Psalm 23 and me crowd, serving us. Day-to-day building management stuff, Mike, serving us. It is called the church service, right? We're being served. We need to recognize that. We need to say thank you. So let's all say thank you. Thank you. All right. Amen. So sometimes we make a mistake when it comes to serving, and I think it goes kind of to it's better to give than to receive. We can equate that with it's better to serve than to be served. Yes, it's probably better to give than to receive, because you feel something when you get a really good gift for someone. And giving can make us feel like I deserve it and I want more. It's like, I don't know what that was about, Joyce.
Great point, honey. Great point.
Okay.
I don't know how to make that stop.
Okay. So we can think, well, I don't want to be served. I don't need to be served because I have so much and I need to take care of these, because, I need to take care of the poor. I need to do that. Forgetting that, yeah, God is meeting all of our needs through each other. That's his heart. So you have a meal here, you have babysitting there, you have marriage counseling, you have prayers, you have listening, you have all these ways we can serve each other, that we can neglect some of them if we have kind of a narrow mindset. The other side, obviously, is, well, I need to be served, I deserve to be served. Well, that's not healthy either, probably. There is a season where we ask for help, but if that's all the time, then we should get God involved more. So one thing I'd say is, don't let your pride get in the way of letting someone serve you, because they're trying to obey God when God says to use your gifts to serve one another. So they're trying to obey God in serving you, so don't thwart that. I wouldn't seek it, but I wouldn't thwart it, Okay. So everyone's favorite, Maslow's hierarchy. And again, I put this up there to show that there are many, many more needs that we have, which we already covered some of them, right? Now, with, all those one another verses. But I think it's also important, here in the West, in the Northeast, Bobby talks about this in Scandinavia, I'm sure Aaron does too, is that people are pretty comfortable. They're pretty successful. They seem to have a lot going on. Like, they don't look like they need any help. They probably don't need my help. They don't need me to come and talk to them about Jesus. I probably need their advice on some things. They got more on the ball than I do. And again, that's a facade. It may be self-delusion. They may believe it, but the truth is that someone said once, or many, many times, that there's no atheist in a foxhole. When you are under fire, when life is really hard, you need God. You're not God, and you need God. So if you see someone and they don't seem to have any needs, ask God. Ask God to show you the needs. And not that you're wishing them to be exposed and have bad things happen, but they do have needs. And they need to hear about God. They need God's love. So many pages, so little time. Is there a right way to serve? The answer is yes. With love, C.S. Lewis, who is mandatory that I quote him, by the way. He said that she lived to serve others. And you could tell the others by their haunted expressions. Because she wasn't serving with love. She wasn't truly trying to meet their needs. She, in that example, I don't know who it is, she was serving whether they liked it or not. She wasn't meeting their needs, but her need. She wasn't serving them with love, and she didn't really care if she was truly meeting their needs, because she knew better than they did. Okay, that's kind of what I take out of that. Jesus also lived for others. And you could tell the others by their astonishment, by their joy, their gratitude, their healing, their changed lives, their changed marriages, their changed families. You think of the story of Mary and Martha. Martha was serving, and I'm sure she was serving initially with love. But at some point, she got distracted. It has to be perfect. It's not perfect. What will people think? The joy left her. She began to grumble. Her heart wasn't involved. How do we get, and we've all been there, I'm sure, how do you get your heart involved when what you're doing feels like a burden? You think of the need. You think of the person, how are they feeling? How do you want them to feel? Loved, valued, respected? We need to serve with respect. Serve them like you want to be served. No judgment, no pity. Show compassion, respect. They are valuable. They're important. They're made in God's image. Nobody wants to be a project. And I think everybody can tell if they're your project. Show respect. With wisdom. We're told, Proverbs, to seek wisdom, that it's greater than refined gold. James tells us, if you need wisdom, ask God for wisdom. He'll give it to you without finding any fault. We can't meet all the needs the same way. They can be situational. So I'm going to ask a hard question. I'm not asking you to raise hands. But I'm asking a hard question, and we're going to think about this. Kind of the core, as we think about needs, is what is the need and what is the best way to meet it with love and respect? Should you give money to the homeless? Again, no hands or anything like that. So I know of about really two main discussions on this, opinions. One is that, well, God blesses the righteous and the wicked. The rains fall on the harvest, the fields, the crops of the wicked and the righteous. It's not for me to decide. I'm not the judge. Let God sort all that out. I will give money and let God sort it out. So, counterpoint. What need are you trying to meet? Are you meeting the need? Are you trying to help them or feel less guilty? Remember, what you intend as a blessing may be a curse if the money goes toward an addiction or something. And none of us want that. So another opinion is, well, I've read that roughly half of the chronic long-term homeless do have substance abuse issues. And if that is the reality, then I will only give them food and water and gloves and a jacket, toothpaste, something like that. Because I don't want to curse them. I want to bless them. Counterpoint. That requires planning, effort, intention, thoughtfulness. Yeah. You actually have to put some action, some money where your mouth is. Do you have those things when you usually encounter the homeless? Like, if you see them in your car, do you have them in the passenger seat so you can give them? If you don't, that conviction, that standard, is a convenient way of not meeting a need. It's not meeting the need. Wisdom seeks common ground. Ideally, we do our best to meet the actual need of giving food, of giving water and jackets and things. If you want to feed them, give them food. Have it in the car or go buy it and bring it to them. I'm sure we've all done that. Plan accordingly and let wisdom guide you, and ask God for wisdom on those situations where you don't have it and you don't have the time. What do I do, God? With humility. One of the reasons I believe we are asked to serve is because we need humility. We need humility to get to heaven. Humility is always the right answer. If we are to live together in peace and harmony, we need humility. If we are to have a great marriage, great family, any great relationship, we need humility. When it comes to meeting needs, what is the need? How can I best meet their need? How do they want their need met? How are they feeling? How can I help them? Consider others better than yourselves. Thinking of, I don't remember where I heard this. I can't hear anything now. But I think that's my boy. Or boys. But I heard this once that if we're all slaves, you think of how a slave would think. about their master. What does the master want and expect when they get up and when they come in the door? I am up before having all that ready, so it is exactly as the master wants. If the master's gone, I have everything ready for when the master returns. My whole life, my whole focus, everything is on what does the master want, not what I want. And Jesus used that in several of the parables, you know. How can I please God? How can I please God through my serving? How did Jesus meet needs? I think this is a beautiful thing. When you see Jesus healing, it's rarely just healing. With the leper, what did he do? Touched the leper. Are lepers touched? He taught and fed, spiritually, the multitudes. And then he fed them with the fishes and the loaves. He raised that young girl from the dead. He sent away the loud crowd, the mourners, the professional mourners, and told the family, give her something to eat. He's meeting so many needs at different levels. That's the example. That's what we want to try and do. So God longs to heal you in your service. What happens when you meet someone's need in a meaningful way, with love and respect? What happens to them? I think we all have a sense of this, and we've all had needs met. So, first you've met their needs. There's some peace. There's a sense of I'm not all alone. I have some belonging, some community. People do care. Maybe there is a reason to have some hope in this life. Maybe some of my other needs will get met too. Maybe life can be better. And what does it do for you? Keeping the theme of Psalm 23 in mind, my cup runneth over. My cup overflows. There's a book we read to our kids every so often. It's called How Full Is Your Bucket? The idea, Mike, is that
What do you mean?
it was the look on your face. I mean that with love and respect.
And humility.
And wisdom.
And wisdom.
The idea of the book is that that we all have like an invisible bucket, and when someone is kind to us, encourages us, helps us, they add a little water to that bucket. If someone is selfish, mean, criticizing, teasing, whatever, it empties the bucket. How full is your bucket? I think it's interesting, my cup runneth over, speaks to abundance, speaks to kind of John 10:10, right? Life to the full, life to the brim, How do you feel when you serve? When you have a really good Bible study with someone? How do you feel when you find the perfect gift? Or something? They are going to love this. This is them to the key. And you give it to them and you see just this joy, not just in the gift, but in being known, in being understood. Yes, you get me. That connection, that you feel this deep inside when you're able to get that for them. It's a sense that all is right with the world. I feel good, I feel great, satisfied, just content. This aligned with my purpose, or with my maker. So, no, Bami did not tell me I had to talk about neuroscience here, but I'm going to do a little bit. So, you may have heard these words before. Dopamine. Doesn't have to do with being dopey, Joe. No, dopamine. Serotonin. Oxytocin. These are known as, the neurotransmitters, and they're known as feel-good hormones. Okay? The love hormone. the reward system in the brain, dopamine. These are things that you get when you do, like, it's cold and dark and rainy, but you work out anyway, and afterwards you feel like, yes, I did it, you know. There's an internal glow happening there, you know. And it's the same thing that we get when we serve, and we get that perfect gift for someone, and we have that great Bible study, all these moments, you know, hospitality, all these things. When they come together, it's like, yes, yes, yes. Your body releases these neurotransmitters. You were designed to feel good when you serve. God is filling your bucket. Your cup will runneth over, your life to the full. I think it's an amazing thing. They are good for your health. Most of our life is spent in fear and worry and comparing ourselves to others, and they're doing better than me, or I'm better than them, and all this chronic inflammation, all this social media, all this go, 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 all this busyness. And here we have things that pause all that, things that replenish us, renew us, encourage us. It's almost like God knows what he's doing or something, you know? Consider also that you can get these neurotransmitters, dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin, through other means. You can get it from your favorite comfort foods, self-medicating. You can get it from gambling. You can get it from alcohol and drugs and things like that. God's delivery pathway is healing. It's beneficial. Those other deliveries are addictive and self-destructive. So we have to choose wisely on those things too. Be aware, you know. Serving also shifts our perspective. You know, we kind of become grateful. If you've ever done counsel someone in the marriage, you look at your spouse later, you're like, I am so grateful for you. You know, you're amazing. You know, or in any time that you serve, you're like, I have so much. I have so much. There, but for the grace of God go I. You know, you don't feel like I'm better than this person. You feel like, God, thank you. You've spared me so much and you've saved me so much. So I heard once a good test of whether you truly have a servant's heart depends on how you feel when someone treats you like a servant. Is there volume? Are you going to take this or make me wait? So James apparently does not like being treated like a servant. It's not, at least not in that situation. How do you like being treated like a servant? Tim Hawkins, anybody know who Tim Hawkins is? Christian comedian, musician. He talks about someone telling him he has a servant's heart. And he doesn't like it. He's like, oh, they want me to stack chairs. You know, I don't like that. Rather, you have the heart of a servant. Oh, yeah, you have the spleen of a giver. You know, he's just, no, thank you. You know, of course he's joking. But, you know, how do we like it when someone treats us like they expect us to do this? We get a little something going on there, you know? But that's something we need to think about, you know. Do I see the opportunity to serve God in this situation as well? You know? How do you, James Bond, how do you treat your servants? servers at the restaurant, the waiters and waitresses, how do you treat them? Like you want to be treated? Respectfully? Kindly? Fast food workers? Are you respectful? Oh, they got it wrong again. I knew they would get it wrong. You know, I'm just quoting you. I heard you say that. Whoa! Oh no! No, but we can. It happens. There's a whole hallmark idea on this that you look for the warning signs in that special person. How do they treat these people? Because that's an indicator of how they'll treat you, right? How do they treat people? Well, how do they treat the people beneath them? That gives you an idea of how they'll treat everyone else. There's some value in that, I think. How do you feel if nobody even notices your service? No one says, hey, that was great, thank you. You know? How do you feel like, I remember one time I was traveling and I just had like some hard-boiled eggs because I eat very boring. And a hard-boiled egg and like a protein bar or something. And there was a homeless person there at the bus depot. And so I gave him one of my 2 hard-boiled eggs. He looked at it, turned it on, threw it right in the trash can. That didn't feel good. I was like, I just give it back. I'll eat it. You know, I was sharing. I care about you. Maybe I shouldn't. You know. But you know, that reveals my heart too, though. You know, reluctance to give again because I didn't get the reaction, the response that I wanted. You know, I need to see the opportunity to serve, to give glory to God. And again, let God sort that out, right? Service is simply seeing someone's needs and doing what you can to meet them the best you can with love and respect, wisdom and humility. Serving then is expressing love and demonstrating love in ways that people can perceive. And that's something we can even do for strangers. But again, sometimes no one's going to know you're serving them. It's invisible. You're praying for them. You're just spending time with them, listening to them. They don't necessarily see that as serving them. You didn't bring them anything. But serving is so important. Do you know that it's considered one of the 5 love languages? Serving people. Some people only feel loved if they receive some kind of service. Isn't that amazing? It's kind of powerful. So why don't we serve? Well, we're all pretty busy. Busier than Jesus? That's kind of convicting. You know, my wife was pointing out that Jesus was stopped so many times on his way to do something by people who wanted him to serve him or them. And he did it with love and respect, right? And obviously wisdom and humility. Maybe we need to be less busy. Well, I've been burned, unappreciated, used. I felt the same way. Remember Ephesians 6:7, serve wholeheartedly as if you were serving the Lord, not people. God sees. You're doing it for him ultimately. That's what's important. If people don't recognize it, if people don't respond the way you want, you're just doing it for him. Maybe you need to change your service, maybe boundaries, but serving for God. Well, that's just not my gift. Well, remember, you're supposed to use your gifts in service to one another. So it sounds spiritual, but it's not. Well, it's just not convenient right now. When is life convenient? You know, John Lennon famously said that life is what happens while you're busy making other plans. Life is not convenient. Life just happens. Jesus was inconvenienced a lot. And yes, this isn't the season for us. Well, depending on what service you're trying to do. But we can all meet different needs. It's not just an organized hope event, whether I can make that date or not. There's so many needs we can meet. Praying for others, spending time with them. Do you know there was a study where they had participants stick their hands in a cold, ice cold bucket of water, and they timed them to see how long they could do it, because it was so cold it hurt. If they had a friend come and sit with them and didn't say anything, they were able to keep it in there twice as long. Just having someone with you, someone you know who cares about you, made the pain more endurable. There's lots of ways we can serve. Singing with them, speaking the truth to them, but we all get tired. Think of Elijah. Elijah was tired. He needed a break.
Yeah.
He needed those ravens to serve him. Ultimately, serving should refresh us. But there are times when we're just empty. And that's when you need to just make sure you're spending more than enough time with God. I think anybody watch The Chosen? Anyone see that episode where Jesus is healing from daybreak to, way past sunset? Yeah, Ema. Yeah, and he's just exhausted. And of course, his righteous, godly men are at the campfire bickering. Well, I'll never forgive you for that. And then Jesus comes in, he's walking, he's stumbling, he's trembling, he's exhausted. And they're just stunned and shocked and humbled. Jesus renewed his strength in time with the Father, one-on-one with the Father. That's what we need to do when we're really exhausted. I missed one. I think maybe I need the turn. I need to be served. It's my turn. I think we can all feel that way. It's not necessarily the right mindset. But again, there are times when people will serve you and are serving you, like this morning. We've already talked about that. But it's when we think we need to be served, when, and it's not just because I'm moving. I need something, it's like, it's my turn. That's not the most helpful. So who should we serve? Who should serve? Everyone who has a gift from God, right? Because God wants you to use the gifts to serve others as good stewards of his grace. So who should we serve? Someone with a need that you see, that you understand, and that you can meet. Which I heard somebody say everyone. It's pretty close, yeah. So God longs to heal us through our serving one another with our gifts that we got from him. It is important that we serve and allow others to serve us, that we serve with love, with respect, with wisdom, humility, that we remember that serving is not just hope-related organized events, it's everything. All the one another's, all the hierarchical Maslow's needs, everything. That God heals us when people meet our needs, our buckets get filled. And that God heals us when we serve others, our buckets get filled. Our cup runneth over, life to the full. He answers our prayers, we're heard. All of us are his hands and feet. So he's ultimately the source of all the healing, of all the serving, of all the loving. Jesus said, when he was talking to the woman at the well, I have food that you don't know about. And I think that it goes back to how he felt when he opened her eyes to the deeper truths, and her life, her heart was changed. And I'm not saying this is for certain, but I think the dopamine, the serotonin, the oxytocin, that's part of it. And all of that, to me, is very helpful in remembering that we are made this way. You know, that God does heal us when we serve. And it's a great antidote to, you know, the stress hormones, the cortisol, all this stuff, this inflammation, this life. And we get the satisfaction. We get that happiness, that contentment, that gratitude, that love, that peace. So in closing, remember in 2 Corinthians 9, verses 6 through 8, let me get my Bible out, because I didn't write it all down. Whoever sows sparingly will also reap sparingly. And whoever sows generously will also reap generously. Each of you should give what you have decided in your heart to give, not reluctantly or under compulsion, for God loves a cheerful giver. And I would remember that giving falls under serving, in my mind. And God is able to bless you abundantly, so that in all things, at all times, having all that you need, you will abound in every good work. Sounds like life to the full. Thank you.